Hello, everybody. How's it going? Let me know when you're here. I am currently live on my YouTube channel, Jamie Trull. I am also live on my, hopefully, if Facebook is working right now, because it has not been working lately, but on my Financial Literacy for Women Business Owners Facebook group, and also on my business page on Facebook, Jamie Trull. Okay, good. So somebody says it's working today. Make sure to hit the thing above that gives StreamYard permission to see your name so that I know where you are watching me from. But I mean, Facebook has been having some problems lately, you guys. And I don't know, it maybe even if you've done it before, because I'm seeing a lot of Facebook users, you might have to reauthorize today just because Facebook and Facebook groups and going live has just not been working well over the last 2 weeks, if you have noticed. But they said they're trying to fix everything. Tell me you're here. Tell me where you're watching from. So we're doing a stimulus update and Q&A. I am going to, yeah, so that was Autumn. So yes, definitely everybody make sure that you reauthorize StreamYard above. It looks like it somehow lost all the data on all of you in the craziness that has happened over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, tell me where you're watching me from. I haven't done a Q&A in about 2 weeks. So I'm starting to do these every other Friday since things aren't changing quite as rapidly. I'm not going to be here every single Friday, but every other Friday, I will make sure that I'm here. And remember, you guys, I'm also in the group every Wednesday talking about various different topics, not just stimulus things. We like to talk about all kinds of things in the realm of financial literacy for business owners. So join us Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central every single week. Okay, we got Wendy from Little Rock. We got Jen from Maryland. Autumn's in Indiana. Charlotte's in South Carolina. Isabel's in Florida. Oh, Miami, Florida. I would love to be in Miami, Florida right now. I need to be literally anywhere. I don't know about you guys, but I've reached that point where I'm not certain I've ever needed a vacation more in my entire life. I really, really think that it is, we are just at that point where I need a vacation. I don't care where you put me. Put me on a beach somewhere, any body of water, really. Like even a nice, like, kiddie pool would be fine at this point in time. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I need the beach. Okay, so we're going to talk about what's going on with stimulus stuff right now. We're going to give some updates on what's happening with PPP, EIDL, specifically those targeted advances. We're going to talk about some of the other funding that are lesser talked about that you might want to know about, like the Shuttered Venue Grant and the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. So there are a few different things that are out there that I want to make sure that you are aware of. So where should we start? I guess we'll start with PPP because that's the one we've got some updates this week on. For those of you, most of you probably saw it, that PPP funds are basically gone, which hit us kind of as a surprise. I mean, I'd been saying it looked like it was tracking that it'd be done by the end of April. But then when they came out with the most recent report, it looked like there was still roughly $40 billion left in the program as of May 2nd. And then literally almost overnight, they said, oh, nope, it's all gone. So, in doing some research on this, it looks like some of that is because it's been earmarked. Maybe it hasn't been funded yet. But those funds have been committed. So if you're one that's kind of waiting on your PPP, if you have a SBA loan number, if you've gotten your loan documents, anything like that, you should be good. It should be included. It's not like the money is really gone. It's just that it's all been committed. Okay, so that's really the important thing here. Now, if you're at some other stage, we really don't know right now what's going to happen. If you haven't yet gotten that SBA number, the inclination, I would say, is that you're probably not going to get your PPP, but honestly, we don't know. We don't know how much cushion they put in there. We just don't know. So there's still a chance if your PPP was in process that you may still get it. They have, they have basically until the end of, if I remember correctly, the end of, June, before they have to before the SBA has to fund all of those things. So they have, that's kind of, it was supposed to run out May 31st, and then the SBA was going to have 30 days to sort everything out. I don't know if they're going to move that 30 days up and the clock starts now, or if they're going to say, no, we just need to get everything sorted by the end of June. But you should know within the next, call it month or so, whether or not you will get that money. I know that's stressful for people. I know there were some people that were just kind of trying to hit it just right, where they could wait for at least their 8 weeks to be up on the first loan and then get the second one. Obviously, the timing is really difficult there. So, it's really tough for people to strike it exactly the way, exactly the perfect way in order to get both of them this year. But anyway, I will say they have said that there's still some money left at these CDFIs. So it's a specific kind of institution that is targeted often towards things like low income or women-owned businesses. Although people are having a little bit of tough time finding a CDFI, I'm going to show you one place where you can try to check and see if you can find one in your local area that you might be able to reach out to. But it seems like, that money is probably going to be gone or may even be spoken for. They may not be taking any more applications either. It just depends. So it's pretty hard. As of right now, the majority of the money, it's pretty much gone at this point. Okay. So that is what's going on with PPP. Also, you guys have probably seen me talking a little bit about Womply lately. That's taken up a lot of time this week. So tell me if any of you guys got your loans through Womply. I'm actually right now gathering a lot of information about them. So many of you who've been around for a while probably know that I don't necessarily think that they have been fully on the up and up and giving people, in some cases, some, at least negligent advice. So just FYI on that, I'm going to be coming out with more probably next week on this topic of Womply and kind of some of the practices that I don't really agree with. This doesn't mean, I know a lot of people use Womply and everything was just fine, so that's great. This really affects people who got their loan within less than 8 weeks of one another. So if you got both loans in a less than 8 week time period, and you did that because you applied through Womply and they let you stack your loans, make sure to go watch my video on YouTube where I talk about that and how I feel about that practice. I've written letters to Womply. They have gone unanswered, not surprisingly. So I am now finally, yes, this is how I feel about it. I'm frustrated with the situation and I'm trying to advocate for you guys because I'm worried about borrowers who were misled into thinking that things that were not okay to do were okay to do, and they were misled by sometimes. Now, Womply is not a bank, you guys. It's a loan broker, basically loan agent. They just match people with lending agencies, but there are people like that are misleading. There are people, even YouTubers. I mean, I'm, I guess, a YouTuber. I know it feels weird to say that I'm a YouTuber. I'm on YouTube, but there are some people who are basically full-time YouTubers that have been recommending Womply and doing that in large part because they're making some good money back on people who use Womply. And so there's just been a lot of misinformation that has gone out there about what you can and can't do. And I am somewhat on a tirade about it. Here's my tirade video if you guys want to check it out. Autumn has linked it below on Facebook if you're watching me over there. The stimulus checks, Francis, are kind of all over the place. There are a lot of different reasons that your stimulus check could be late. What I would say, and I'm assuming you're talking about the most recent stimulus check, what I would say about that is if you haven't gotten your most recent stimulus check, make sure to file your 2021, if you haven't already, 2020 tax return, if you haven't already, file it by, I believe it's August 15th is the date. So if you file it by August 15th, that's the additional determination date that the SBA will use. And they will probably be making another round of stimulus check payments or truing it up. Let's say that, some of your stimulus, you only got a portion of it, but in 2020, your income was underneath the income limits to get the whole thing, then they'll true your payment up as well. So just telling people, make sure that you file by August 15th, even if you filed for an extension, I still want you to file by August 15th. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait till you file 2021 return. And in 2021, if your income goes back up above the income limits, let's say if your income goes above that in 2021, because 2021 is better than 2020 was, which I think will be the case for a lot of people, then you don't get it at all. So you could miss it entirely. So that's why I'm telling people, make sure that, especially if 2020 was a crappy year, make sure that you're filing that by August 15th so you get your full stimulus. Okay, all right. Oh no, Disney. You guys, little known fact about me. I don't know if y'all know this. I am a Disney Vacation Club member. My family usually goes down to Disney every year. We had to skip last year, obviously. It's been a couple of years because we were saving up. We were going to be last December, which obviously did not happen. We were going to go on our first Disney cruise. And so we are not going to Disney again. It will have been 3 years, which is a lot for me. That's where I love Disney World. I'm a giant kid, and my kids love Disney World. And oh man, I miss it. I miss it. Okay, back to it. Let's see. So the answer is yes, Andrew. Let's talk about EIDL. So EIDL loan, you're talking about the loan, right? So let's real quick separate. There's the advance, there's the loan. The EIDL loan, yes, you can. You just can't pay yourself. Like, let's say you used to pay yourself $5,000 a month, and now all of a sudden you're paying yourself $10,000 a month, and using your EIDL for that. That's not going to fly, right? You can supplement your own income, yes, to get back to sort of pre-COVID, but that doesn't mean, just because you can, it doesn't mean you should. And the reason that I say that is because the best way for your EIDL to be able to help you is to be able to use it in your business, right? To keep your business going, to generate more revenue. When you take that money out to pay yourself, remember, you got to pay it back anyway with interest. That's financing your own paycheck, right? It's taking out debt to pay yourself. If you absolutely need to like pay your bills and everything, okay. But if you can cut anything in the world out such that you don't have to do that, that's better, because you're gonna have to pay it back with interest, which means every dollar you take out is gonna end up costing you, like, call it $1.40 to pay back, right? Over 30 years. It's not really worth it. So I am a proponent of using that money in your business to hopefully generate more revenue, right? Now you can't invest in your business. You can't go, open another location or something like that, but you can use it for ongoing operations such that you can generate more money and get yourself back to pre-COVID levels, hopefully. Okay, let's see. That's also a frustrating thing, right? Because they've been encouraging people almost to like jump the line, which isn't fair for the people. I have a whole diatribe on this. You guys want to join me next week? Because next week I'm going to have a really great conversation with Hannah Smolinski of Clara CFO. She's going to come in the group with us and chat next Wednesday at 10 a.m. on my normal time slot. And we're going to talk about just PPP, sort of winners and losers, where we've been over the last year, just kind of, a look back, right? A look back on the PPP program. And what I will say that frustrates me the most about PPP is the fact that there were winners and losers in this whole thing, right? There is a lot of unfairness in this program, and it's changed around who it's unfair to, right? But it started out, it was unfair because, only big businesses could get it. Then it turned out that actually the earlier you got it, the more unfair it was, because you thought you had to use it over 8 weeks. So you were paying people who weren't even working. You were doing whatever you could to get rid of this money in 8 weeks. And then they said, oh no, we're going to give you 24. There's a whole laundry list of things. And then changing the game with the gross income and the net. And then, certain businesses sort of trying to let people jump the line by applying for 2 at once. Like, there's just so much rampant unfairness in there. Some of it, just kind of the way things go, right? Some of it is just like, well, rules were changing, Congress changes things, what can we do about it? And some of it, I feel like, again, was just negligent on the behalf of people. But I do think that the majority of banks out there are not out there to hurt, they're out there to help. The majority of SBA lenders are really helpful, but there are some that have been less than helpful in this. Okay. All right. Oh, Karen's DVC too. What's your home resort? Let me know. We're between Wilderness Lodge. We have Wilderness Lodge and Boardwalk Villas. Those are our two for our family that we have home resorts. Okay. Let's see. Yes, this is true. Likely if you don't have an E-Tran number from the SBA, it's not likely, but it's not impossible. We don't know how much cushion they have in this program. Also, talking about PPP, you guys have probably heard this. One of the things that is happening right now is they're following up on a lot of fraud, you guys. Like a lot of fraud. There is, especially this round, a lot more than last. There are so many, there were fraudsters out there that were like, we'll set you up an LLC and give you a fake Schedule C and a fake ID. I watched a thing the other day that was actually about Womply and how people were getting around their ID things by like taking pictures of mannequins that they were then using and submitting, and that was getting past the facial recognition and things like that. I mean, you guys, like there are so many criminals, and you're gonna get caught. Like, if anybody's sitting here, and I don't think anybody who is doing this is watching me, I cannot imagine that any of my audience is doing this, but you're gonna get caught if you are falsifying documents to apply for a loan from the government, thinking like, oh, they're not gonna check on me because it's not that much. It's coming, y'all. It's coming. Now, I do think some people might, not follow the rules, but not because they weren't trying to. Again, maybe they were misled by companies like Womply. Maybe there was something else going on. For you guys, I don't think it's going to be, it's not like they're going to cart you off to jail or anything like that, right? The key is, are you trying to do right by it? But there are so many people that are just flat out defrauding the government right now, like making up businesses that don't exist. They're all going to jail, y'all. all of you. I don't want to say you, all of them. So that's just not a good thing to do. Okay, let's talk really quickly about, Karen's got Old Key West. I like it. I've been there before. Okay, let's see. I'm looking back about what about the IRS change a couple of weeks ago that is allowing businesses to deduct in 2021 expenses paid in 2020 with PPP funds. I don't even know what this change is. I haven't heard of an IRS change with regards to PPP. PPP is not taxable, and they had already ruled through the let's see, it was in the December bill that everything that you pay is deductible. Everything that you pay with PPP is deductible. I have not heard of a rule change. I will go look this up after this because it's not impossible that I've missed something. But I haven't actually heard about that, Dina. I don't, you can already deduct expenses paid. Yeah, I'm going to look up what you mean because I haven't heard of any changes with that. Let's see. Okay, let's talk about the targeted advances. So we talked about EIDL a little bit. Let's talk about the targeted advances. What's going on with those? So the targeted advances, remember, there's kind of the targeted advance, and then what's the supplemental advance. Anybody looking for information on that, go and click the first link I think that I have above is going to be about these targeted advances. It's a really good SBA FAQ. I'll put it up for a second. This is what it looks like. It's like, I don't know how many pages. It's 8 pages, but it talks about the targeted advance, who's eligible, how to, if you want to contest it, right? I believe they talk through that in here. What the process is. This is the one that if you got an EIDL advance, but didn't get the full 10,000 last year, you are first in line. And then the people who are second in line are people who did not get the advance at all because the money had run out. So if you applied for an EIDL last year and didn't get an advance, then the money, then you are second in line for this. And what it is it's for people who are in a low-income area. So you guys, it also includes the link to the map to check if you're in a low-income area. You will get an email. You probably already did if you were going to be able to apply for the targeted advance. Those emails went out, I think, starting in March. And so you could apply for this increase up to $10,000. So if you got $2,000, you could apply for an $8,000 increase if you were in a low-income area, and you could show a 30% decline in your in your gross receipts over an 8-week period, okay? There's also this supplemental targeted advance, okay? There's the EIDL advance, the targeted EIDL advance, and now the supplemental EIDL advance. Why didn't they do it this way? Well, the original EIDL advance came from the CARES Act. The supplemental EIDL or the targeted EIDL advance came from, I believe that one was the December Act. And the supplemental, I believe, came from the act that they passed in March. So they kept adding to it, basically. They'd apportion more funds and then say who gets them. And they're really trying to focus on these low income area addresses. It talks about, if your address is wrong, how can you change it? And all of that within this FAQ. So make sure that you check it out. The supplemental is what, especially if you got the targeted, you probably got the targeted if you're going to get the supplemental. So you would have gotten the targeted up to 10,000. And then the supplemental, they will invite you through a separate email that says, hey, come apply for the supplemental. Again, you have to be in a low income area for that. And you have to actually show a 50% or more reduction in gross receipts over an 8-week period. And you have to have less than 10 employees. So targeted advance is a 30% reduction and under 300 employees. The supplemental is 50% reduction and under 10 employees, and that's another $5,000. So the max you can get from EIDL advances in total is $15,000. If you're not in a low income area, the max you can get is whatever you already got last year, right? Your 1,000 or so per employee, that's what you can get. So check out that FAQ though, because it's really, really helpful for a lot of the questions that people are asking on this program are answered in this FAQ. So I want to make sure you know about that. Another really good, let's see. Okay, so another really good option is, hold on a second. Another really good option for finding information, I also have linked above, is the SBA.gov website. And you can go to the COVID-19 relief options section, which is linked above as well. And it's got all the information. You can go to PPP, COVID-19 EIDL, and that includes the targeted advances. Your restaurant revitalization fund. If you are a restaurant or food services, you're going to want to check this out and know about this. There's a lot out here you can actually apply. The applications are open. It says apply now. It gives you all the information about who can apply, how to apply, etc. In addition, there's the shuttered venue grants. Those are also open right now. If you're a venue, if you're a music venue, live performance venue, promoter that has had a pretty significant drop, you can potentially apply as well. Make sure to read. There's a priority and everything, but make sure to read through that if that could apply to you. I just want people to know about that. And if you're curious about, well, how does PPP affect the Restaurant Revitalization Fund? There's this cross-program eligibility here that talks about how each program affects the other one to make sure that you don't get into a double dipping situation and you understand that. But for the most part, you can apply to multiple programs without a problem. You just want to make sure that you follow the rules correctly and you should be fine. Let's see. So, and then also a place to put identity theft and fraud. You guys, if you have PPP identity theft, fraud, waste, or abuse in the SBA programs, you can actually report that to the SBA here now. So anyway, there's a lot of really good information out here if you're interested. You can also look up all the stats for PPP. So here's where I was telling you guys, you can find information on CDFIs, which maybe there's a chance there's still more money. If we go to PPP, let's see. First, an eligible lender that is participating in the PPP. And there's a thing called, or find an eligible lender that is participating in PPP. CDFIs are the ones that still could have money. But what I found when going into here, and maybe I just need to look around a little bit more, I did not see when I was clicking around in here a way to find out. So it says view our current list. Maybe that'll help. Let's see if that's, I guess that'll download it. So maybe if you download your certified CDFIs and see if there's any near you, that could be an option for people still looking to get that PPP, but I'm not, I don't want to give you too much hope, but that could be a possibility. Let's see, let me go back to where we were. second ago. Okay. And then on here too, you're going to find a lot of the PPP data, which I think is really, really interesting, by the way. So it's going to give you information about, like I said, we have the total amount in 2021 of 258 billion. Again, I'm surprised they're saying we're out of money because really they had authorized 284 billion. So, and this says loans approved, not loans funded. So I have heard that lender fees are making up for a portion of this as well, which we weren't really aware. Nobody had said that, this number also included lender fees. So that's part of the reason that they're shutting it down before it looks like they're really out of money. And then they also have, again, a little bit of money still left for these CDFIs, but there's some good information out here. If you wanted to look at just information about, what PPPs, what the total amounts are, what the total loan breakdowns are, how many. There's just a lot of good information, like who's lending these things, right? What states, loan sizes, what the average loan sizes basically are. So this is interesting. It does say that 85% of total PPP loans were for $50,000 and under. So that was not the case when you looked at these reports. When you looked at these reports from last year, it was much more skewed towards the bigger businesses. But that's actually, and not only that, they also are still the highest amount, in amount as well. So, yes, there are some bigger loans out there too, but it does show that at least they're them trying to move more towards getting these out to small businesses, actual small businesses. It seems to have worked. I don't know how many small businesses are getting a $5 million PPP loan, but and then who the top lenders and everything were. Again, Womply is not going to show up on here. They are saying that they're number one in PPP lending. I don't know exactly what that means, but they're not a lender. They are just a broker, like I said. But industries, it's just a lot of interesting information in here as well. And I found this interesting. This male versus female. That's interesting considering the fact that females actually own 40% of private sector jobs. So it looks like they are proportionately not taking out as many loans as men are. I'm kind of a data nerd. So if you are too, you can go check this out on the website and you might get some information that you enjoy. Okay. Sorry, I'm coughing, you guys, today. I don't know what's going on. I'm talking too much. All right, guys, what other questions do you have? Let me know. I'm going to look through to see. Yes, a self-employed 1099 worker is eligible for targeted or supplemental EIDL. For targeted and supplemental, you do have to show that drop in gross receipts, 30% for targeted, 50% for supplemental, and you do have to be in what's considered a low income area. There is a map out there on the page that I just showed you where you can check. And you should have gotten an email, but again, you have to have applied for EIDL last year. I think that's one thing that people are like, well, wait a second, how do I apply? You can't unless you're invited, and they'll only invite you to apply if you received an EIDL advance last year or applied for one, right? Maybe they ran out, but you have to have gone through that process last year. You can't get in on it if you did not apply last year. Okay. So employee retention tax credit I assume is what you're talking about. Anybody who has employees doesn't know much about the ERTC, the ETC, whatever, or ERC, whatever you want to call it, employee retention tax credit. You need to know about it. It can save you, it's worth up to $33,000 per employee. So this is for people with employees. You want to make sure that you check out the information on that. I linked my calculators above. Or you can go to jamietrull.com/ERTC calculator, and it'll show you whether or not you apply or this is applicable to you. You actually have a while to look back, right? It's easy. It's best if you can do it as you go along and you can actually claim it on your payroll reports as you go along, so you don't have to amend your payroll reports. But you can amend payroll reports for a couple of years. So you could technically get to 2022 and be like, oh man, did I miss my employee retention tax credit? And feasibly, unless they shut down the program, which I feel like wouldn't really be fair, you could feasibly go back and claim those employee retention tax credits. But I would But what you can do now is at least get knowledgeable about it and start claiming it now if you're eligible for it, and then go back and claim prior periods, whenever you have the time to do that. But it is a really, really big one. Honestly, it's actually bigger than PPP. Can be bigger than PPP for people who have employees. Okay. I say no. You can find whichever answer you want. I think that if you go all the way back to the actual IRS guidance, like the FAQs are really vague, which is what are leading some people to believe that spouses and owners can get the employee retention tax credit. We know that, daughters and sons and parents and grandparents can't, other family members, but it's not as clear about owners and spouses. But I think if you go back to the IRS guidance that is mentioned in that FAQ, that you do find kind of support for the fact that the intention is to not include owners and spouses. But again, it's up to your risk tolerance, and some CPAs think that there's a case to be made. Oh, good. Go ahead in there. You should be good. I don't think that I don't know if it has a deadline on it or anything. I would go on in there and apply. Apply. Everybody just go into your email inbox right now and just search for sba.gov and see if they've sent you any emails. That's the reverse hack, because I don't know what your email looks like. You guys, I don't know if I can even show you on here. I've tried to show you guys this before. Let's see. So my personal email, I've got 16,966 unread emails. That is a fact. My business email is a little better. It's only 4,000. Oh, no, it's going up as we speak. It's literally 4,650. I need an email management system, let's just say, or a person. I hate email. So go search for sba.gov if you're anything like me and have no idea who might have sent you emails. Anything should come. If you get any of those and you're like, is this a scammer? It is pretty hard from what I understand, not a tech person, but pretty hard from what I understand to spoof the sba.gov like backend. So that is oftentimes a telltale of whether it is real or not, but always exercise due diligence if you are concerned. Let's see. Yeah. I might, Autumn. I might. We're hiring for this. We're like literally actually going to be fixing some email situations. Okay. All right, guys. All right. You guys are amazing. Yes, that is what I typically end up doing. And then I unenroll to a bunch of stuff, but don't unenroll from my emails, you guys. If my emails are good, unenroll from everybody else's emails and keep mine. Okay, y'all. Love you guys. You are amazing. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We might get out this weekend. We might go to the zoo or something. I don't know. But it's going to be a pretty weekend. It's Mother's Day weekend. So happy Mother's Day to all the fellow mothers out there. And I hope everybody has a great and restful weekend. Bye, guys.